Today I'd like to talk about generational curses and the spirits that are assigned with those curses. How fast do they travel down your family bloodline? We know the scripture, Exodus 20 verse 5, tells us that the sins of the fathers travel to the third and the fourth generation. So today I'd like to share a personal testimony on what that really looks like and how fast those spirits can actually travel down your family bloodline. Spirits are, they're lazy. They don't want to learn a whole new family. They like the family that they've been in. They're familiar to your family, and they generally stay within your family bloodline, right? So if you have people that have died within your family, as I have, then those spirits have to find a new place to go. People pass away. Spirits do not. So one evening I was at home and I was laying in bed, and all of a sudden I started to feel like 1,000 pounds just landed on my chest. I started hyperventilating. I couldn't breathe. I knew that I was turning very white and very pale. And my husband was getting very concerned about my well-being, running around fluffing up my pillows. Now, typically he's not that kind of a caregiving kind of guy. If you're sick, he just says, get along and keep moving forward. But this night he was very, very concerned about my look. And it almost made me even more nervous because of all the attention I was getting. And with that, about 2 minutes later, our phone rang. And he listened for a minute and he just handed me the phone. And the hospice nurse was on the other end of the phone, and she said, Mrs. Tarbox, we regret to inform you that your mother has just passed away. And the first thing that came out of my mouth was, do people know before you call? And her reply to me, I'll never forget, was 75% of the time there's either a physical manifestation or an emotional manifestation. Now, I had no idea what that meant. I had no idea about deliverance ministry or spirits traveling down the family bloodline. I'd read the Bible for years, but I'd never seen anything like this or understood anything like this from a spiritual warfare perspective. Those spirits that left my mother, that's what that weight was that came on me. They found a home. My doors were open. They had plenty of legal rights to be there. I was in corporate America, living the typical corporate America lifestyle. There were happy hours and different things that were going on in my life. And so the things that tormented my mother were I was a very accessible vessel for them. Within 2 years, I had found a deliverance ministry similar to ours, where when I went in for deliverance the very first time, most of my deliverance was because of the generational things that had come down upon me. I would say 75% of that first deliverance was all generational related. And that's what you'll find, and I got free. But in those 2 years between my mother's passing away and me finding a deliverance ministry, I watched my life spiral out of control with many of the same issues that my mother had dealt with. Now, when they prayed for me, when I did finally get in for that deliverance prayer, not all of those things had manifested yet. There were plenty of things that my mother had been involved with that hadn't come up in my life, but you know what? Those deliverance counselors identified every single one of those things that she walked through. So when I walked out of there that day, I was completely free from the generational sin that had been coming down my bloodline. And the good thing is, my children are not going to have to be an inheritance of that coming from me. So I would encourage you to come visit our website, take a look at our information, our testimonies on generational curses and sin, and tell me what you think. Typically, 75% of what you're going through in your life has been because of the family that you were born into.